Welcome to a vlog. Okay, there we go, that's better. I actually have all of my videos for September planned out already, but I am participating in the Adventures Through Wonderland readathon this month, which is a middle grade readathon being run by the combination of two book clubs. So the two book clubs are A Touch of Whimsy, which is Lexi from the channel Alexandra Rosalyn and Kaylin from the channel Kaylin Abridged, as well as Middle Grade Monthly run by Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin and Jade from JD Ray Reads. I think that they are also joined in Middle Grade Monthly by Pris, but I don't think she's part of the Adventures Through Wonderland readathon. And I did a whole TBR video for that, so I will link that there for you. But I just really wanted to vlog this readathon because I really love reading middle grade and it's just so joyful and fun, so I thought that I would bring you along with me. And the first book I'm going to pick up for this one is the group book, which is the Train to Impossible Places by P.G. Bell, and I wanted to start with this one just because it's the group book, but then I will read all of the others in the order of the prompts. Now, what I do want to just quickly add is that I have added 3 books to my TBR for this readathon. So the readathon has 7 prompts. One of them is just to have a snack, and one of them is for the live show, so the group book. So that just leaves 5 middle grade books, and like I said, I have my TBR here. But what I realised on reflection was that that TBR was very white. I did not have enough diversity within my TBR, but I do still really want to read all of those books. So what I thought I would do is I would just add some extra middle grade and make the rest of this month, and I say the rest of this month because it's currently the 9th of September. I was doing a reading challenge previously to this, and that video is already up on my channel, so you can check it out there. I decided that I would just make the rest of this month middle grade as well and just add some extra books to my TBR, which, I mean, to be honest, they could fit into most of these prompts. So the books that I am adding to my TBR are King and the Dragonflies by Case and Calendar, which I have got an audiobook for through my library, and I also have another Case and Calendar book, let me just grab it, which I'm adding, which is Hurricane Child. And do you know what? I searched high and low for this book and the only place I could find to buy it was Amazon. So I don't know what the deal is with that. And the final book I am completely spacing on the name of right now, but there'll be a little picture just here of the cover and we can discuss it more when I get around to it. But I have that one from the library as an audiobook as well. But I am going to start with this one, like I said, because it's the group book and I just kind of wanted to start there. I think my plan is to vlog this whole readathon in one go, which means that this might be quite long, in which case I apologise. But not really, because I love middle grade, and I'm guessing if you're here you also love middle grade, or you're just really nice and watch all of my videos, in which case, thank you. Let's read The Train to Impossible Places. Actually, before we start reading, I got a delivery of some Lush products today, and I did a haul over on my Instagram, but I thought that I would put that haul in this video as well, because I know not all of you follow me on Instagram, which you should, because you get stuff like Lush hauls. So no, not very often, if we're being honest. Okay, so here is my little, and by little I mean big, Lush haul. These are all wrapped in cling film. I acknowledged this on my Instagram, I'll acknowledge it here. I know that that's not an environmentally friendly way to store Lush products, but I just don't have any of the reusable stuff. So this is just what we're working with for now. So I got 2 of the solid conditioner bars here. This one is the American Cream and this one is Jungle. Jungle is being discontinued, sadly, which is why I wanted to pick up one. I used to use it years ago before it was reformulated, and I stopped because I just couldn't get the product to dispense onto my hair properly. But they've changed it and it's now a pressed product, so I really wanted to give it another go before it disappears forever, but then I also wanted to try one that isn't disappearing as well. Then you've probably noticed this absolutely giant comforter bubble bar that is quite literally the size of my head. It's really quite insane how big this is. This was a surprise gift from my sister. I placed the order online, well, my sister placed the order online for me, and because I wanted her to add something as a surprise. I really enjoy having a surprise in my order, and this is what she picked. So yeah, I didn't even know they did these. It's so huge. I mean, it's just so huge. It's gonna last me ages. Then I've got this Sleepy Face Solid Facial Cleanser. I have a Sleepy Soap, which is a musky lavender scent. Comforter, if you don't know, is Ribena scented. American Cream, I don't even know what to, I don't know how to describe the scents of those, so I'm just not even going to try. Then there is Scrubby, which is honey scented, and it's a moisturiser with exfoliation beads or whatever. We have a Honey Trap lip balm, which I used to have and I haven't used in years, but I wanted to get another one because it's really, really nice and winter is coming. This is a Sleepy Bubble Bar. The colours are so pretty, and this one is also a musky lavender scent and it's really, really lovely. I've already had one of those and I used it up, so I wanted to get another one. And then I have a couple of bath bombs. So this one is Turmeric Latte and this one is a charity bath bomb. This one's called IRL and it's like a musky sort of floral scent. So yeah, that's my little Lush haul, or not so little. And now I'm going to read. Hello. It's the next day. I haven't yet finished the Train to Impossible Places, but I am a little over halfway through. I will definitely finish this today, as well as reading the Train to Impossible Places. I might start one of my other books. I haven't decided yet. Depends on how late I finish this one. But I do also want to use some of my new Lush products in the bath, so I'm probably going to wash my hair and have a bath later as well, which will be lovely, I hope. So that's the plan for today. So, as you saw, I finished reading The Train to Impossible Places by P.G. Bell, and I really enjoyed myself. It was a really, really sweet and cute story. The main character, Susie, is really, really into physics, and so it's really hard for her at first to accept all of these weird and wonderful things that are happening to her because they don't follow any of the rules. But it's a really, really fun kind of adventure story with great characters. There's not much to say about it, really. It doesn't deal with any difficult themes or anything like that, but if you want something fun and whimsical and easy to read, then I do recommend it. And the audiobook was really, really good. I was pleasantly surprised to find that the narrator was British, which is really nice. We don't get a lot of English accents on audiobooks, so I really enjoyed that. And she did really, really well with all of the voices and differentiating between all the different characters who were talking in the story, and it was really, really fun. And now I am listening to Blended by Sharon Draper. I'm just over halfway through. I'm just listening to this one. I got the audiobook through my library and I'm enjoying it so far. It's very episodic in nature so far because it is Izzy or Isabella telling the story of what's happening in her life, but her parents are divorced, so she spends 1 week with her mum and then 1 week with her dad, and so it's very back and forth in narrative style, and it's being narrated by the author, which is always very nice because the author can narrate it in the way that they envisage the story being told. So I'm really enjoying that. It's a very, very short audiobook. I've only got sort of an hour and 10 minutes left, so although it's quite late, I will probably finish this tonight before bed since it is a Friday. I don't have to be up for work tomorrow. Okay, let's talk. I finished Blended a few days ago now, I think 3 days ago, and the ending was really, really good, but the book was just okay for me in general. It was just a little bit too simple for me, and I think that this is once again me making the mistake of reading a contemporary middle grade. I like fantasy middle grade because of all the whimsy, but I think that contemporary middle grade is just a little bit too basic for me, so I guess I'm just learning that contemporary middle grade is just not for me. This lighting is really, really orange because I'm in my living room and I just have the one light behind the camera there, and I'm looking at the screen noticing that I look really orange. Is the white balance auto thingy on? Yeah, the auto white balance is on, so I think this is good as we're going to get today. Apologies. Right, so once I finished Blended, I was feeling a little bit slumpy because of the reasons that I said. And this isn't really meant to be in this vlog, but I started The Vanishing Half, which is the Thoughtful Book Club pick for the month of September, so I thought I would make a start on it. And I've only read the first chapter. It's quite a long chapter, so I'm like 33-ish pages in, but it's really, really dense. And I haven't been able to get an audiobook for it either through Scribed or through my library. So I'm reading it physically and it's really, really dense. Plus there are Louisiana accents in it, which are a little bit tricky for me because I'm not overly familiar with them, as you might be able to tell. This lighting is really bothering me. And now I look really blue. Is that better? I think that's better. Anyway, so The Vanishing Half is really, really dense, and I don't have an audiobook to help me, and I've been having lots of headaches, and After Blended had already made me feel a little bit slumpy. The Vanishing Half was making me feel super slumpy. So then I thought, well, the next book I'm supposed to read for the Adventures Through Wonderland is Wondersmith by Jessica Townsend, and I've started reading it. And again, I don't have an audiobook for it. But the thing is what I really want to be reading is Keeper of the Lost Cities. And by forcing myself to not read this and read something else, even though this is on my TBR anyway, is sending me slumpy. So, the moral of this story is, when you're a mood reader, mood read. So, I'm going to start Lodestar now. And I'm hoping that is going to help with my reading mood. I still have a headache, but here's hoping this will help. I do have the audiobook for this. I've been buying them all from Audible because I think that they are really, really great audiobooks, and I just can't imagine not reading and following with this series now. And this isn't to say that I'm not enjoying this. I'm not very far in. I think I've read like 10 pages exactly. So, you know, I'm not far into this, but those 10 pages flew by a lot quicker than the first 10 pages of this one. So I'm going to do my mood reading self a favour and pick up this, which still fits the Down the Rabbit Hole prompt anyway. Technically, I've read The Train to Impossible Places, which also fulfills the Down the Rabbit Hole prompt. In fact, that one fulfills all of the prompts, so I could just read whatever middle grade I want to read. But this is on my TBR anyway. So, and originally it was on my TBR for Read for a Cozy Night In, but I can equally read this one for a cozy night in. So I'm just going to swap them and read the one that I really want to read, and hopefully that will help me feel better. So I read quite a bit of Lodestar yesterday. I'm on page 194, so I've read this chunk just here, and such a good decision to swap to this book. I feel so comforted and happy reading this series, and it was definitely exactly what I needed to stop myself from getting into a reading slump. So I will go back to Wondersmith and The Vanishing Half at a later date, maybe at the weekend, but for now I am super happy to be reading this, and I might even finish it today. I can't really tell you too much about this one because it's a 5th book in series. As you can see, I'm joined by Shinji just now. You can only just see the top of his his head at the moment, but you've seen him for a bit. So, I finished Lodestar last night, and I don't know what to say to you. I just love this series so much. It just has it all. It's fast paced, it's got great characters, the plot is really intense and really interesting, and there's so much going on, and it's really, really intricate, and there's so much we don't know yet, and it's fascinating, and I love the characters. I've just realised Shinji's left little like nose prints on the lens. Hold on. The characters, there's a huge cast of characters in this series, and they're all just so nuanced and interesting, and I love so many of them. And by the way, in case you're wondering, I am Team Keith all the way, have been since he was first introduced. I love Keith. He is one of my favourite characters, but I do also love Sophie and Fitz and Biana and Grady and Edeline and Tam and Lynn, and there's so many great characters in this series, and there's so much great emotion in this series as well, and I'm really loving it. And I don't know what I'm going to read today. I might read The Extremely Inconvenient Adventures of Bronte Metalstone before moving on to the next Keeper book, which is Nightfall, which I might do. I might do that. I might read this first, because I do have access to this one on Scribd, and I do want to read it before Scribd take it off again, because they do that kind of thing. So I might read this one today, but I'm definitely going to be reading Nightfall this month in this vlog, definitely, and I'll probably read the next one as well. I'm still nervous about picking up Legacy because it ends on a cliffhanger apparently, and Unlocked doesn't come out until November, but I'm super excited to read those. But I do think I'm going to read this one today, and I will let you know how I get on. Oh, I haven't really told you what Keeper of the Lost Cities is about. Obviously, I read book 5, so I'm not going to tell you what book 5 is about, but the series itself is about a girl named Sophie who grew up in the human world, but then discovers that the reason she's never fit in there is because she's an elf, and then she moves to the elven world, but then she realises that she doesn't really fit in with the elves especially well either, and there are lots of reasons for that I'm not going to get into, but which I promise are extremely interesting. Okay, so I did finish The Extremely Inconvenient Adventures of Bronte Metalstone a couple of nights ago now, and I really enjoyed myself. It was really funny and whimsical, and a little bit in the sort of absurdist genre, so it felt very much like a series of unfortunate events, which I haven't read, but I've seen various adaptations of, and the siblings in that story travel around to various family members and have these absurd things happen to them, and it's a very similar situation here. So Bronte travels to visit all of her different aunts, and every time she visits an aunt, something happens. So it's a little bit episodic in style as well. It's a little bit mysterious. Sorry, just changed the angle there a bit. It's a little bit mysterious, and I think I've noticed that I don't mind absurdist fiction if it's for children, but if it's absurdism aimed at adults, I don't tend to like it as much. So I finished that one, really enjoyed myself. So I have picked up Keeper of the Lost Cities book 6, Nightfall. It's a nice chunky one. I think it's like over 700 pages, nearly 800, I believe. Yeah, 794, so just short of 800 pages. I think the audiobook was about 23 hours long. I'm currently on page 234, and there's a lot going on in this instalment. So I am trying to keep up with it all. There's a lot going on, and I haven't been concentrating as much on it the last couple of days, so I'm hoping that tomorrow I can just really binge it. I have a few other things to do, but it's a Sunday tomorrow, so I should have a good chunk of time to finish this baby off, and as per usual, I'm loving it. No one's surprised. It's great. Hi, I just got done filming a haul video and realised that I haven't updated this vlog in quite a while. I honestly don't even remember what I was reading the last time I updated you. I think that I had just finished Nightfall, which is book 6 in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series by Shannon Messenger, which I loved, and then I started straight away after it Flashback, which is book 7 in the same series, and I finished it and I loved it, and no one's surprised. There's so much going on in this one, so much. There's more world building, there's more characters introduced, there's more reveals happening, there were quite a few sort of peaks in the action. So usually in these books there's sort of one main thing that happens in the book, and this one had about 3 main things that happened. One was like right at the beginning, and then the other 2 were closer towards the end. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. I really want to read book 8, but I think I'm gonna stop myself from reading book 8 until November, because I know it ends on a cliffhanger and I know it's just gonna kill me, and this one didn't end on a cliffhanger, so I just don't want to do that to myself. Plus I do have tons of other books to read, so you know. I'm actually currently reading The Vanishing Half, which is the Thoughtful Book Club pick for September. I need to finish that one off, and I managed to get a Skip the Line loan on that from my library, which I didn't even know was a thing, so that's great. So I'm listening to the audiobook of that. But once I finished that one, I did manage to get the audiobook of Wondersmith through my library as well, so I think I might read this one next. And then I also have King and the Dragonflies by Case and Callender through my library, so I might read this one after The Vanishing Half, and then read King and the Dragonflies, and then read Hurricane Child, which is in the middle of this stack from the haul I just filmed, so I'm not going to pull it out because that will just end in disaster because I'm a klutz. And then I'm going to read The Unadoptables. So I basically have my reading plan to the end of September sorted, and after all of that I do also need to read This Time Will Be Different by Misa Suguera, because that was my TBR jar pick for September. But other than that one and The Vanishing Half, all of the books on my TBR for the rest of the month are middle grade stories, so they're still a part of this vlog, even though I'm pretty sure I've finished everything, all the prompts for the readathon, but that's okay. I'm loving reading middle grade, so I'm just going to carry on. And I will update you again once I'm back to reading middle grade. Okay, I completely disappeared from this vlog. I went back to teaching at work, and it just completely has taken over my existence while I get used to all of the restrictions and the commuting again and the teaching again. It's all a lot. So I was rubbish at finishing out this vlog, and I can't even remember where I was. I'm editing it now, so I'm all caught up, but I'm just going to go ahead and wrap everything up in this clip rather than try and catch you up on the last nearly 2 weeks. So I started off by going down the rabbit hole with The Train to Impossible Places by PG Bell, which follows Susie, who finds somebody laying train tracks in her living room, and so she boards the Postal Express and goes on adventures and makes lots of friends, and it's a really fun time. I thoroughly enjoyed myself, very whimsical, and I'm really looking forward to picking up the sequel at some point. And actually the 3rd and final book in the series is coming out in January, so this is a really great time to pick up this series because you can pretty much binge it. Then on my way to the flower garden I read Blended by Sharon Draper, which is a contemporary book about Izzy, or Isabella, whose parents are divorced, and so she is dealing with shuffling between her 2 parents' houses and her 2 families. And whilst it led me to the discovery that contemporary middle grade doesn't really work for me as a reader, I do really recommend this one. It's like the middle grade version of The Hate You Give, which is really important. So if you have a middle grade reader who wants to read something like that, then I would highly recommend this one. And then also on my way to the flower garden, I read Lodestar, the 5th book in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series by Shannon Messenger. I'm not going to talk about this. I love this series. I love every single installment. It's amazing. You should read it. Then for my flower garden read, I read The Extremely Inconvenient Adventures of Bronte Metalstone, which is a very absurd but really whimsical and fun adventure that follows Bronte Metalstone as she meets all of her aunts to deliver gifts from her dead parents who were killed by pirates after abandoning her with one of her aunts. And it's a truly adventurous and wondrous and wonderful read that I highly recommend. Then I had some tea and cookies and read Nightfall and Flashback by Shannon Messenger, books 6 and 7 in the series, before finally moving on to the White Rabbit's house and having a cosy night in with Wondersmith by Jessica Townsend. This is the sequel to Nevermore, which I read in Christmas 2018, so it's been a while, but this is such a funny story and the world is really rich and magical, which I love. Sorry, my battery ran out, so the angle might be slightly different. So this follows Morrigan Crow, and this is a sequel, so I can't tell you what this installment is about, but the first book follows Morrigan as she discovers the land of Nevermore. She is cursed and everything that goes wrong in the town that she is from is blamed on her because of her curse, and the curse is that she will die on her 11th birthday. But then on the eve of her birthday, Jupiter North comes and rescues her and takes her to the magical land of Nevermore, which is full of magic and topsy-turviness. And the first book is about a competition, and this book is a little bit more magic school based, and I really enjoyed it. And the third book, Hollowpox, is out I think in November, maybe. I'm not 100% sure when it's out, but it's out soon, and I will pick that up eventually as well, although I'll probably wait for it to come out in paperback so that it matches my other copies. Then I moved on to The Queen of Hearts Palace by reading King and the Dragonflies by Kaysen Callender. This is a story that follows King, who has sadly lost his brother and believes that he has been reincarnated as a dragonfly. So he is trying to find his brother in dragonfly form, and at the same time he is dealing with the fallout of his best friend coming out as gay. And it's quite a short book, so I won't say any more than that, but it's really quite deep and heavy, I think, for a middle grade story in particular. So it's dealing with themes of death and grief and homophobia and discovering yourself and discovering how to be a good friend, and it's just quite a heavy story for a middle grade reader, I think, but also a really, really important one. It was very well written. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it's difficult to say that it was a lovely story because it dealt with so many awful things, but it was a lovely story, if you know what I mean. And then finally, The Cheshire Cat had me read Hurricane Child, also by Kaysen Callender, and this is his debut novel. And with King and the Dragonflies, I knew that that one was magical realism, but I wasn't 100% sure what this one was, and this one's kind of magical realism as well. It follows Caroline, who is kind of the odd one out. She doesn't really have any friends, but then a new girl starts at school and they build a friendship, and she is also missing her mother, who has left, and so her and her new friend Kalinda decide to try and find Caroline's mother. And there's a little bit of magical realism in a is she seeing ghosts or isn't she kind of sense. And it's quite dark in places, but not in the same way as King and the Dragonfly. So King is dark in that it deals with death and grief, whereas Hurricane Child is dark in that it deals with bullying and feeling like you don't belong and depression. But that's particularly dark because it's a child that's suffering from depression, which of course happens, but it's incredibly sad. And I mean, I don't know whether I would say that this is hopeful overall. I think it is quite sad overall, not that it has a particularly sad ending or anything, it's just not hopeful, if that makes sense. This definitely reads like a debut novel for sure. You could I could definitely tell the difference between this and King, and I kind of was reading them at the same time, but I did finish this one second. I did enjoy it, but again, it was slightly more on the contemporary side than King, so I didn't enjoy it quite as much because, again, I don't seem to get on so well with contemporary middle grade. But that was my last read for my Adventures Through Wonderland. I had a really, really great time with it. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. This is going up the first weekend of October, but every other Sunday in October I will have readathon vlogs, so you can look forward to those coming your way soon. But that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks, bye.